are continuing. Joining me right now is Tennessee Senator, Senate Foreign Relations and Appropriations Committee member Bill Hagerty. Senator, it's good to see you. Can you tell us what happened yesterday in terms of the pushback from Republicans?
Well, I think every one of our American supporters here think that we should be voting on things that we understand and comprehend. There's no text to this bill, Maria. The fact that Chuck Schumer would bring it forward just shows their urgency to shove something through. It's amazing, and it sort of brings you back, doesn't it, to more than a decade ago when Nancy Pelosi said, you've got to pass the bill before you can find out what's in it. We don't need Obamacare 2.0 right now. We need to know what we're talking about here. I certainly haven't seen any text, and I think all of the Republicans have been united in this. We're not going to move forward on this until we can see exactly what we're talking about. The devil is always in the details.
So you may be getting more than just Obamacare in all of these bills. The infrastructure bill, we're talking about hard infrastructure, $1 trillion, but that is also side by side to the other bill, $3.5 trillion that your colleagues on the left want to jam in an amnesty component. They may want to jam in a voting legislation component. Is that going to happen? Will they be able to get all of that through reconciliation, do you think?
Well, they call it reconciliation, but it's anything but what you and I would call reconciliation. This is just another reckless tax and spending spree. And if they want to hide this alongside a bipartisan bill, I think it really is folly. If you step back from this, and you know, Maria, I've been a business person all my professional life. Sometimes what you negotiate out of a deal is even more important than what you have in the deal. But what we've got Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi saying, what Biden said within 2 hours of the White House negotiations, was they're not going to look at the bipartisan hard infrastructure deal until they get the deal that had everything else that we didn't want pushed right alongside it. That's not bipartisanship. Where's the compromise in that?
I've never seen anything like this. The fact that the two sides cannot even have discussions about what is positive for the American people. And then you've got the Democrats refusing or, blocking a bill for transparency on COVID. We know that the Chinese Communist Party has refused a planned second phase of the World Health Organization study into the origins of COVID-19. What is going on? Why this cover-up on where coronavirus originated? House Democrats blocked the bill, which would have required transparency, a declassification of information related to the virus's origins and the Wuhan lab at the center of it, Senator.
It's absolutely shocking, Maria. If you think about it, hundreds of lives lost here in America, millions of lives lost around the globe. The world needs to know what happened, and declassifying the intelligence around this would help the American people understand better. We want to make certain this never happens again. You see what the Chinese Communist Party is doing. They're obfuscating this. Go back to the origins of this, though. In the very beginning, the Chinese Communist Party silenced researchers. They destroyed samples. They did everything they could to prevent us from finding the origins. Now, what is it, a year and a half has passed. It's going to be that much harder to get to the bottom of this, and they continue to obfuscate. We need to get to the bottom of this. I think the American public deserves to know, and I find it just baffling that the Democrats would side with the Chinese Communist Party and do this.
But I don't understand why. I mean, are your colleagues being paid off by Communist China? Why?
You've got to ask yourself, are they trying to protect somebody? What is going on here? We need to get to the bottom of it, but the Democrats should be held to account for this. I think the American people want to know, should know, and we ought to hold the Democrat Party accountable.
Look, I'm having a very hard time finding any of the policies out of the Biden administration that have actually been positive for the American people, whether it's economic policy or foreign policy. I just don't see any policy that has been positive for the American people. And the Wall Street Journal is out with an editorial this morning, and the title is Tough Biden Talk, Little Action. That's what I've been saying. These policies on foreign policy have no teeth. The board is criticizing the president's tough talk against China over hacking and Russia over the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. In both cases, the president has talked tough but has done nothing. And in fact, he's done more for our adversaries than the U.S. He blessed the controversial gas pipeline. It's expected to increase Russian influence in Europe. It's doubling the volume of gas that Russia can send into Europe. On China, he says he's doing something, but none of the policy has any teeth. And then, of course, there's the Iran. Look at where oil prices are since Joe Biden got to the White House.
Yeah.
They've doubled, making gasoline more expensive for Americans. What's going on? Who's fighting for America there in Washington?
Well, certainly I am. The Republican Party is fighting tooth and nail against these policies. But as you say, who's winning right now? You look at what's happened with the border crisis. The border is completely collapsed. The cartels are laughing. The cartels are winning right there. If you look at what's happening with China, again, the Chinese Communist Party laughing all the way to the bank. Russia, as you mentioned, with Nord Stream 2, we're giving them a gift and getting nothing in return. It began with the START treaty. Biden extended that and got nothing in return from Russia. And then Iran, we could go on for an entire segment about the capitulation there. It is just amazing that our adversaries are winning today. Biden is basically caving at every front. Criminal elements here in America are winning. If you look at what's happening right here domestically, and the American taxpayer is suffering at every turn. Look at the inflation that's happening right now. That's a hidden tax on middle America. And all of the policies that they're putting forward are so damaging to our economy.
And yet, last night, total incoherence. I don't know what President Biden said in a number of answers at that town hall that he did, but nobody holds him to account. You've got media just rolling over. I mean, what is your reaction to the town hall last night that Joe Biden did?
You know, I think the American public is far smarter than the mainstream media want to make us believe. People see this. People understand that the Biden administration has an incoherent domestic economic strategy. They put America's interest last. They're putting foreign interest first. We're right back to leading from behind again. The American public has already seen this movie unfold before, and we do not need to go back to this place. I think that the Democrats are going to pay heavily in 2022. I'm going to work my heart out to make sure the consequences are severe, that we take back the House, that we take back the Senate, and that we hold the Biden administration to account.
Well, yeah, if there are free and fair elections in 2022, one would expect these policies to be voted out, right?
You would, and we've got to do everything we can to hold the line against this so-called S1, HR1, their attempt to federalize the elections and make it, forever in the Democrats' advantage. That's going to be absolutely critical that we hold the line there. And again, the American public support us there.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's up to your colleagues, right? They need every Democrat on board to jam through this $3.5 trillion package. Will they be able to it? Have you spoken with Joe Manchin? Have you spoken with Christian Sinema? Where are they on this?
You know, if I think about what Joe Manchin is saying right now, he says he doesn't want to increase the deficit. He wants to make sure that whatever they put through is paid for. This $3.5 trillion package, there's no way to pay for that. And the type of pay-fors that they're talking about are going to be devastating to the economy. They're going to tax job creators. They're going to kill capital formation in America. This really is the Green New Deal just disguised. Higher death taxes. They're talking about policies that will kill fossil fuels in America and essentially shove more American jobs offshore. It'll be devastating to the economy. And if you step back and look at what Joe Manchin is saying, I think he's going to have a very hard time squaring this $3.5 trillion package with the type of fiscal responsibility that he wants to support.
Right, and that's why Biden wants a global tax, so that if people say, I'm not going to stand for this in America, I'll go to Ireland. Well, you can't, because there's a global minimum tax, which, by the way, Ireland is not going along with. Senator, it's good to see you. We are going to be certainly spotlighting all of this, and we'll keep watching. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria.
Senator Bill Hagerty joining us in D.C.